Welcome to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
I'm me, I'm Rob. Let's give the people what they want. A nice, good old recap of this weekend and some Giants news.
Oh, I thought you found a quarterback somewhere.
Oh, rumor has it.
We are running out of them. It's not
Yeah.
going well. So, but yeah,
Get
that's
a important position or something.
Yeah, it seems like it. So we're going to have actually that topic, though, because there is a quarterback that's rumored to be on the market here potentially this offseason. We're going to talk about the pros and cons of potentially trading for him. We're also going to talk about the brand newest Giant there. He's got that new Giant smell to him at that point. Just don't sniff after practice. And then, of course, we're going to talk about something that's a bit of a controversial that I've seen a lot of memes on and talk about overall in sports pundits there about are running backs now the key to success as you watch the success that Saquon, Derrick Henry, and Josh Jacobs are having with their respective teams there? So we're going to get into that. And, of course, we're going to give you guys the rundown, as Rob said, of all the games here from yesterday. And not as many as usual, guys, but we definitely had some good ones. Depending on your perspective, obviously, not so good for Trevor Lawrence, but the rest of them, not so bad. Yeah. That was a pretty big hit there. We'll get into that there. Let's start off with the topic of the day that I thought was kind of intriguing there, and that's should the Giants trade for Kirk Cousins, Captain Kirk himself there?
Can you just please pay super amount of money for me right now?
To stop throwing interceptions.
Yeah,
there was rumors going into the game yesterday. He did not have a good game, guys. And that's definitely not going to help his case for staying long-term in Atlanta there. But here's where it all started. It actually started, again, before the game even yesterday. ESPN's Dan Graziano said, it remains to be seen how things turn out in Atlanta, but they haven't gone as great as the Falcons imagined they would. And Michael Penix Jr. is sitting there behind Cousins and about to turn 25 in May. Could the Falcons make Cousins available in a trade after only one season if they think Penix is ready to go? He'd be an interesting veteran pickup for a team that thinks it's close. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler says, the next 6 games could determine a lot about Cousins' future. He had shown the ability to get hot, throwing for at least 3 touchdowns in 3 of his first 9 games with the Falcons before the recent 2-game slide. I expect Atlanta to have a defined plan for Cousins that maximizes the passing game coming out of the bye. But to your report, the results have been pretty good, but not optimal. So yeah, guys, they made a big investment at that position, obviously, this offseason. Both signing the massive deal for Kirk Cousins at 36 years old, not necessarily the brightest idea to do with the major injury coming off and everything, but that's what they did. And then they doubled down on that position by drafting Michael Penix overall. Of course, if you guys watched the show, we were pretty big fans of him coming out of college there. But yeah, it's a little crazy there because you look at what he did. He had a 4-interception game yesterday, guys. First off, let me be very clear on that. 4 interceptions. That is like Daniel Jones rookie, that's what that is at that point there. That's bad. But here's his stats on the year right now. He's got a 67.4 completion percentage, 3,052 yards, 17 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, hold on. They just signed this guy. How could they get rid of him? The way they structured this contract, they actually saved $2.5 million against the cap. Now, don't get me wrong. That's not a lot of money. I'm not insinuating that whatsoever. But a lot of people, the first year or two in that deal, you try to get rid of them, you lose money. Look at the Jets right now with Aaron Rodgers. They're kind of stuck with him because they actually have to give up money against the cap to cut him loose. This is not the case for Kirk Cousins. They can move on this offseason and save just at least a little bit of money at that point there. Now, if he is traded, His salary next year, guys, is $27.5 million. Very palatable, I think, actually, in the
the modern market
there. Yeah, that's like not very much at that point there. Yeah, and you can look at the fact though that he does have, as Deb says here, a full no trade clause. So she says Cousins said he will only go to a contender, which means Giants and Raiders would be out now. And she says, "No, I haven't been drinking." LOL typos, but drink it up. But again, Cousins hasn't spoken to this. There's reports saying that Cousins would only go to a contender because he has a full no trade clause. Now, there's a couple of things to that, guys. First off, if you are a contender, it's been a while since we've been a contender. I forget what that's like. But if you were a contender, can you think of a single contender right now, barring any kind of major injury, that would go, you know what?
Any kind of injuries out there?
That's the missing piece.
Ooh, Drew. Am I lost or are you lost?
What?
Are we lost?
What?
It's a good question.
Who's lost? What?
What
do you mean? I'm confused now.
Drew?
Yeah?
You there? You not there?
I'm here.
Hello.
I'm here. Are you here? Oh, we lost Rob. That's what happened there. Okay. So anyway, what I was saying is I don't see a single team that goes, you know what, Kirk Cousins is that missing piece. And I think that I look at that, go, you know what? What team, like maybe the Pittsburgh Steelers, if they don't retain, either one of their two quarterbacks they got this year, maybe that's the guy they go for. I don't know, but I can't think of anybody that stands out. And I go, you know what? That's the team that's going to want Kirk Cousins this offseason. And I think maybe because of that, if that were to happen, maybe he needs to lower his expectations a little bit and understand he's a 36-year-old quarterback that still has some playing abilities, but let's be honest, was never elite. Now he's throwing up a lot of picks this year. And, you just look at that and go, maybe sit down and say, listen, these are the teams that want you. Where do you want to go? Because if you stay with us, you're sitting on the bench. And you don't say it in a jerk way, but you just call out reality. And if you call out reality, sometimes people see it. Sometimes they don't. It's 50-50. But, calling out that reality might make him change his mind and understand that if he can be a bridge quarterback or, 1 or 2 year starter somewhere, that's better than him riding the pine there over in Atlanta. So, it's a matter of that. But I'm just not sure that's the guy I'd want necessarily, to be honest with you guys. Unless it is the scenario like we talked about that we're going to deal with here as a stopgap, veteran quarterback to be someone who kind of mentor a rookie, whether it be Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward or who knows who else at that point there at this point. But, I just don't know if he's going to be fully open to that because I don't know him personally. I don't know his personality. And if he wants to go in contender and no contender wants him, can he see past that and say, you know what, this is the best scenario for me to maybe try to latch onto one next year. Show I can do something here in New York. They got Malik Neighbors, the best rookie wide receiver in all of football there. They got Tyrone Tracy Jr., the best rookie running back there to go along with that, and maybe a new coaching staff. Who knows? We'll see that. And maybe that's something that he looks at and goes, you know what? Maybe this isn't such a bad spot. Maybe I can rebuild here, and try to go maybe to a contender the next year after that. Hard to say because Father Time's clicking for him, He's 36 years old again. So you make 37 next year. If he goes here, does 1 year, 38. Now you go, okay, 38 years old. What's left of Kirk Cousins? He's not stupid, guys. He knows he probably only has a couple years left, if that. That's why he took the money in Atlanta because he knows it's probably his last big contract he ever signs. So we'll see what happens there. But like I said, interesting potential option there if we want to bring in a veteran quarterback that can start for 1 year if need be. Because I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm not a big fan of throwing a guy out to the wolves. I like the idea of letting a rookie letting him learn, and letting him kind of get used to the offense, build up his confidence, get used to life in the NFL in general. And like I said, history shows that's typically the best way to do it with a rookie quarterback, at least for part of the year, maybe half the year, like we did with Eli at that point when Kurt Warner was there. So, like I said, we'll have to see what happens there. A lot of potentials here for this offseason with the New York Giants at the quarterback options there. All right, let's get into the newest Giant here. So the Giants have signed Corey Durden there to the defensive line. Now, we talked about it last week. Dexter Lawrence was injured. He's officially on the IR. His season is up. He's done. So that's why they had to bring someone in. So Corey was signed off the Rams practice squad. He's 25 years old, 6'4", 316 pounds, an undrafted rookie free agent from North Carolina State, originally signed by the Lions. He was in 4 games last year, had 3 tackles. He's yet to appear in a game this season. SI gave their draft evaluation out of him there. Gave him actually a 6th-round grade, by the way, and went undrafted. So, some people obviously thought a little higher of him than some others did. But the draft evaluation they saved, their synopsis was basically pass rushing 3 technique that wins with power and technique, but lacks the athleticism to be elite at the next level. So they thought there was something there, just more of a bit rotational piece kind of thing. And, again, what do you expect me to pick up at the beginning of December? Guys that are really good aren't on the streets this time of year. So, you get what you can get. You just got a body that you at least seen something on. And you just hope that you don't have to play them too much, guys. You hope that you get, stuff out of guys like Nacho, who really needs to step up now with, Dexter Lawrence being out. And you hope that's what happens. Side note as well, Theo Johnson also out for the year. Again, we talked about that as being a possibility there on the previous episode as we got Rob back here. But yeah, that's Theo Johnson's now out as well. So, we already obviously signed a tight end last week, but now we've also signed a defensive lineman. So it's official that Theo Johnson and Dexter Lawrence both out for the rest of the season there. As Rob chimes in just into sad news.
Womp, womp, womp.
Timing there. So, all right, let's talk about the position that used to be one that people, to be honest, didn't have a lot of respect for the last couple of years in the NFL. And now all of a sudden there's talk now of running backs potentially being the key to success in the NFL. And that's because of what happened this offseason. Listen, a lot of big name running backs left. And they went on Redfin. They've and they've gone ahead, and now you got Saquon obviously going to the Eagles on pace to break the NFL rushing record, by the way, guys. Henry, a lot of people kind of walked up beast again in Baltimore. And Josh Jacobs, who had an off year last year, off to Green Bay, and obviously Green Bay is having a really good season, this year as well. He's got almost 1,000 yards rushing on the season. He's having a pretty decent season himself there. So, again, it's been a position that people have undervalued the last couple of years, and the talk's been like, oh, don't pay a running back, don't pay a running back. And for good reasons, let's be honest, there's a lot of bad scenarios that happen from paying running backs. Eagle Elliott, there's different guys that have been gotten paid and talent's fallen off the cliff, basically. But again, now you have a trifecta of running backs this year, and they haven't fallen off the edge. So,
but you said it right there, trifecta. There's 32 teams.
Yeah.
So when 10%, less than 10% of the specialty positions are like studs, and no one else is really going off the wagon.
Yeah.
There's things to be said about that.
Here's the stat that keeps going out there on social media, and I've updated it from when I last saw it based on yesterday's games. The teams that lost the running backs, Raiders, Titans, Giants, those teams are a combined 7-29. Not good. Now, the teams that gained those running backs, the Packers, the Eagles, and the Ravens, 27-10, guys. And that's what people are looking at. And I don't think that's simple.
That's not fair.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
The Ravens, the Packers, and the Eagles were very good teams the last couple of years.
I was gonna say, what was the Ravens' records last year without Derrick Henry? What was
Actually,
the
probably
Packers?
better, to be honest. The Ravens are 8-5 this year. I have to look at what they were 13 games last year, but
They were up there at this point. They were double digits. I'm pretty sure they're 11 wins at this point. I think they're 11-3 at one
and
point.
the Eagles had the one loss forever until they all of a sudden just hit a wall and lost every single game almost. The rest of the
And
way.
they started. Listen, they started on the season that way too, and then they went on a nasty tear the past 2 months.
Now, does it help having 1,000 or close to 2,000 yard rusher? Of course it does. But I can't look at these guys and say, you know what, these guys are playing. This team's still playing so much better thanks to the running back, when they did the same exact type of record last year. But to reverse that, the Giants were bad last year. The Raiders were bad last year. The Titans were bad last year. So am I going to sit there and say they made a huge difference? Now, some of those teams obviously are also down. I mean, like the Giants had 6 wins last year. We got just 2 so far. But, who knows what's going to happen the rest of the way at that point. But regardless, 6 wins, 2 wins, it's a crap team.
I'm pretty sure at this point this year we had 4 wins.
Yeah, because this is before DeVito took over and started winning. And we won, I think, 1 or 2 games with Tyrod as well. But, it's, like I said, it's to me, it's an oversimplified stat saying, oh, well, the teams that lost their running back are 7-29. The teams that won are 27-10. Well,
you're telling me the Titans would have made that much of a difference if I had Derrick Henry?
Yeah, seriously. You're saying if you kept Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, and Saquon where they were, that those teams become winners all of a sudden? No.
Let's just fluff everyone's ego here. They get an extra 2 games. So you're saying that they're going to be 13-23. You still want that record?
Yeah. Yeah, that's so I'm going to reverse this a little on you. If Derrick Henry had stayed in Tennessee, hypothetically, and Lamar Jackson went to Tennessee, you think the Titans would be 8-5? It's more likely that.
Yeah. Especially because, like, when you go.
Because they kept Henry.
Yeah, especially when you go from a place where Derrick Henry was the guy. He was the dude the past couple of years.
Oh, yeah.
And now he's not. He's the supporting cast to the dude. Like, Lamar's the dude over there. He's your running back. He's led that team and run, the past 3 years?
Yeah.
And he's the second lead rusher on the team currently. So
rushing yards, you're saying?
Yeah.
Derrick Henry? No, he can't be. He's got 1,400 yards, dude.
No, I said Lamar. I'm talking about Lamar.
Okay.
Lamar led that team. So Lamar led the Ravens, I want to say, in rushing the past 3 years or 2 years leading up to Henry going there. Where now Lamar, I think, is 500 yards, 400 yards, and he's like the second lead rusher over there.
I'm trying to look it up real quick because I didn't plan on talking about that part of it there.
I'm just saying, like, when you
he's got 678 rushing yards so far, and like I said, Derrick Henry is 1,407 right now.
Yeah, and who's the third place running back on that team? Justice Hill, I'd
have to look.
350.
A lot of them guys, they went over the Chargers.
Probably got like Justice Hill like 350 yards.
All the backup running backs for the Ravens here. Let's see. Justice Hill is still there. That's their backup.
What I just said. It's probably got like 350 yards.
No, he's got 191.
Way off. I was trying to be very courteous to that man.
Yeah. That's not so good. But again, when you got those two guys doing 2,000 yards combined already in 15 games. But what I'm just saying is it's not the key. I don't think a damn thing has changed as far as running backs. What just happened is 3 really good teams, and I hate saying that because the Eagles are one of them, but 3 really good teams got a really nice complementary piece. We say complementary piece.
Yeah.
And they all work very well for where they're at. I mean, Lamar Jackson's a speed, obviously rusher when he's rushing the ball, very agile, and Derrick Henry's going to just smack you right in the mouth. A guy like Saquon, well, they love short passes and stuff like that in Philly, and he fits that bill perfect there for that scenario. even Josh Jacobs at that point. Again, he's a different change of pace from the usual, more finesse passing offense that Green Bay's been known for, basically going back to the Brett Favre days at that point. So, they just fit very well where they're going. But to me, the fact that people are sharing out on social media that the running back may not be as unimportant as it used to be because of these three guys. Listen, guys, they're having great seasons, and I'm not taking that away from them whatsoever. But Derrick Henry's 30 years old, guys. How much longer do you think he does that for? And it's a legit question, because if you sign him to a big contract,
we've also been saying that for the past 2 years for him, because he's not one of those finesse, like, I'm going to run speedster guys. He's in your face bulldozer, and those guys typically don't last long. But he's probably like the had one of the longest recent longevities of that style of running back in a long time. Because
but you also look at the fact that he signed year $16 million. That's it. Like, that just shows what the market thought of him. And I just don't think that changes, because somebody's gonna look to, like, let's say if he was a free agent at the end of this year, hypothetically, and he's not. He got one more year with the Ravens. But let's say he was. And they'd say, okay, you're going into,
you'll be 31.
31 years old. You're to have over 11,000 career rushing yards under your belt. Do I really want to mess with this guy? And that conversation will still be there, regardless of what happened this year. Right or wrong, it is what it is. It's going to be there. So, like I said, I think it's a little presumptuous to say things change because three guys are having success on teams that already were having success, while three teams are failing that were failing way before they lost those guys.
So they're plucking stats from three teams that did miss the playoffs, just not even close, with great players, still missed the playoffs. That those three players went to teams that made the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
And now are looking like playoff teams. Wow. They made a big change.
Yeah. And, let's see. So Ravens were 13-4 last year. Okay. Titans 6-11. Eagles 11-6, but again, they lost how many games in a row towards the end there. Giants were 6-11. The Packers were 9-8. So that's the one thing you could say they definitely improved, but they also had a second year out of their quarterback, which does definitely make a difference there.
Listen, Love was very wishy-washy, and he definitely played better the second half than the first half.
Yeah, so the Raiders were 8-9. So, I mean, again, you can sit there and say there's a change. And I'm not saying these guys don't have any effect on the team. Clearly they do. But to sit there and say that these guys were like the missing pieces that make these teams great, and all of a sudden you change the whole entire way you look at the position because of those three guys, is ridiculous. Now, do you get a GM next year that has a really good team and doesn't have a running back and go, you know what, we get this running back. This might be the missing piece. Yeah, that's possible. Especially if one of these teams wins the Super Bowl, because people do that like this league. That's the way it is. The generic ideas and unoriginal ideas are just par for the course. But I'm just not so sure I can sit there and say things change because of that. I really don't think I can.
No.
So.
And all right. Something we said about like Barkley last year. Listen, like if the Giants were a playoff team, that's a different scenario. If you think they're a Super Bowl caliber team, then you pay your running back.
Damn straight.
And guess what? All three of these teams think they're a Super Bowl caliber team.
Yeah. Yeah, so, and they should.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, they should. So, all right, we got one more bit here, guys, of Giants news. And then we're going to get into our picks here. So, and that's the fact that Daniel Jones was asked by the Giants, apparently, to go home. Take your bag, pack it up, go on home. Do not pass go. Do not go right to jail. Go on home. Go on house arrest. This was a story that broke this week from Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk. Now, I'll be honest with you, he doesn't always say the nicest things about the Giants, but again, can you blame the guy the way the Giants have been? He said the Giants initially wanted Jones to stay home with pay. That's what happened in Las Vegas 2 years ago after Derek Carr was benched. And then he put in parentheses, the Carr were told asked to go home, and the Raiders decided it was the best approach. He said the player has to be willing to stay home. He can't be locked out. The rule dates back to Steve McNair's grievance against the Titans back in 2006 after they drafted Vince Young. The Titans didn't want McNair to get injured while on the premises, triggering his otherwise non-guaranteed salary. McNair and the Players Association fought it. They won and set a precedent that teams cannot keep a player from showing up for work for non-disciplinary reasons. There's nothing wrong with the Giants wanting to stay home, he says. It's the natural extension of their decision to take him out of the lineup. But the request for Jones to stay home laid the foundation for Jones eventually asking to be released. His first choice, we're told, was to remain active and to help the other quarterbacks prepare to win games. When he decided not to stay home, the Giants altered their workout program in order to minimize, if not eliminate, the possibility of injury. He wasn't going to be throwing a practice, and his lifting program was significantly restricted, all in the name of keeping him healthy. Business considerations prevented Jones from doing anything to help the team. No real practice other than scout team walk through safety, no throwing, limited lifting. He wasn't getting ready to play because he wouldn't have played. He wasn't permitted to participate in practice because they didn't want to trigger his $23 million injury guarantee for 2023. Guys, this is another black eye. I'm sorry. Another black eye on how they handle this whole internet.
I think it's something else.
Okay. I look at this whole thing and I go, you know what? And we've talked about in the show before. Again, Jones, bad quarterback, good person. And if you want to do this right, then you should have sat him down and his agent down and said, listen, point blank, we want you to go home. We're happy to pay you the rest of the season. We just don't want to. And you can be honest and say, there's business considerations we have to make or whatever, because you can't just flat out say, we're not paying you because of the injury guarantees. They'll know what they mean. You can say what saying it. And then if he says no, then so listen, we think it's in the best interest to release you in that case then, because we're not going to put you through a scenario where you're publicly embarrassed. We respect what you've done for the team. Results haven't been great, but your work ethic has. And we want to respect what you've done for this franchise and treat you with that respect and give you a chance to maybe latch on somewhere else. And listen, they could have done that all in one conversation. There was no reason to do it the way they did it. And it almost was like the Giants were unprepared for that. Like, did Daniel Jones, would they expect him to say, just run home like a dog with his tail between his legs at that point and just disappear into the night? That wasn't going to happen. Say what you want about him. And again, we've all said all kinds of craziness because of how bad he played. That man cared about his teammates. That man cared about his team. And that man even, dare I say, cared about the fans, even though he didn't care enough to obviously play good. But again, it wasn't a lack of trying. It wasn't a lack of trying. And that's the thing that you gotta separate there. And I feel like that's what the thing is that you didn't have to put this man through that. And in my mind, and maybe this is just me because let's be honest, I'm not big on Joe Schoen, and I admit that freely. In my mind, it takes me back to when Joe Schoen was on Hard Knocks and thought that Tyrod Taylor would actually want to come back to the Giants. Joe Schoen clearly has problems reading the room and telling personalities. And I think, I think honestly, he thought that Daniel Jones would just go home. And if you thought that, again, you're stupid. You don't know how to read people. Sorry. I'm just calling it blunt like this.
Yeah, the man's only been trying to be on the field, doing whatever he can to be on the field. Picking up a new, he went to the scout team to play safety because he wanted to be on the field. The guy came back from an ACL surgery and decided to learn a new stance in this offseason because he wanted to be on the field and try not to look like how he did this year. Didn't help, but he tried something new. And you know what? I can't blame the guy for trying something different.
Nope. Can't at all. And like I said, that to me was a classy move on his part to try to help in whatever way he was allowed to help. And again, if you wanted to save him the public embarrassment, all you had to simply do is just say, like I said it, we respect everything you did with the franchise. We don't want to put you through any embarrassment. And we're worried about that being embarrassing to you, which obviously would in turn be embarrassing to us. If you don't want to stay home, that's fine. We're going to release you now and give you a chance to catch on with somebody else. And it's a very simple conversation. It could have been done very respectfully, and it could have been done in a way that saves face for the Giants, save face for Daniel Jones. But instead, no, you parade him out there to publicly say goodbye in this whole thing, and then you put him out there in the scout safety and stuff like that. Just let the man go.
Yeah.
If you're not going to use him and he doesn't want to sit at home, then let him go the freak home already, and go find a team that wants him.
Well, he found that home.
He did. Well, I mean, he's on the.
It just wasn't in Hoboken.
I don't know how bad they wanted him. He's on the practice squad, but I mean, it's a whole separate issue. But I'm just saying, like, it could have been done so much better. And this is another reason why I keep on saying I don't like Joe Schoen for this job, because I think he lacks the people skills. That's a people skill issue right there. That's a people skill. And listen, there are plenty of people who are good at analyzing data, scouting, that don't have that people skill. You know, salary cap guys, there's plenty of positions in the NFL that don't require that. GM requires that. You are a leader of the franchise. You are a person that needs to have rapport with these players. He clearly doesn't have it. Doesn't have it.
No.
And because of that, he's got to go. I feel like I'm kicking him off like a reality TV show. And for those reasons, Joe Schoen.
Yeah. And the words of Insync. Bye, bye, bye.
Bye, bye. I'm just saying. Gotta go right now.
We're going to Moe's?
Whoa.
Are they sponsoring us?
Is it Moe's closed? I thought they were closed.
Yes, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I thought they were closed.
What else? Yeah.
I you know, honestly, and don't get me wrong, like, you can see me, you can see my physical shape, and obviously I don't do a lot of sporting goods. I mostly go for Giants gear if I'm going to a sporting goods store. But yeah, I remember the Undercover Boss show they had on for a while, and they had the guy from Modell's, and he's talking to a guy, and he found out how much the guy's making. He's like, I didn't know he was making that much money. That's not enough money to live. And I'm like, you're the guy paying him.
Yeah, right.
You do not know that. No wonder the place went under. You don't even know what your people make. Can't take care of your people. Not going to be a successful business.
Nope.
Got to treat people right. So
I always say that come from a restaurant business. There's two things that make a great restaurant: great food, obviously, and great service. You can have one or the other, and it's a good restaurant. You don't have either, it's a terrible restaurant. If you got both, people go back.
I thought you were going to say bread at the table. I love a good bread at the table.
It's part of the service and the food. It goes hand in
hand. That's specifically. Let's be honest. Olive Garden be where they're at without the breadsticks. You know, Red Lobster.
Aren't they on the way at the door?
Red Lobster would not be where it's at without the Cheddar Bay biscuits.
Yeah.
You
know, under
Lone Steak or whatever that place is.
Lone Star. Lone Star.
Lone Star that does the buns everybody likes with the honey on it or whatever.
Oh, are you talking
Texas Roadhouse? Texas Roadhouse.
That's different. Texas Roadhouse is still in business. Stop that.
I'm just saying, but these are the things that, you know, they're famous for their bread. I'm just saying they're famous for
their bread. Through those restaurants are going like under.
No, they're still up right now. I made a lot of money already. Bertucci's, remember they used to make the bread.
Who's out of business?
I'm just saying they lasted for a while and made some money. They made some money. So all right. Let's go ahead and pay the bills real quick, guys, and then we're going to go ahead and go through our picks, by the way, where we freaking crushed it. Let's go.
Enjoying the show? Looking for more goofball action? Consider a membership at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Memberships start at just $5 and give you additional goofball access. One-time support payments also available starting at just $3. buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs.
All righty, guys. And of course, as always, if you want to support the show, you can do so also with a super chat option on YouTube. You can also do, of course, stars on Facebook as well. And we may have some new things coming soon as well. Heads up on the program this week as well, guys. Of course, we're always do our shows Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are going to do something a little different here on Wednesday, which Rob doesn't even know I had planned yet. I'm just throwing things at him, curveballs here. Trouble with the curve. Let's be honest here, guys. We're going into another game to do a pregame show against a game that nobody expects we're going to win. Let's be honest, we're not. So we're going to condense our pregame show, and we're going to talk about candidates to replace Brian Dable.
Ooh, getting a little spicy.
Get a
Hot
little
wing spicy.
spicy because that
Put a
man's
quick loop.
That man's on the hot seat. His cheeks are red. So we're gonna go ahead and do
Gonna
that.
cluck you.
Yeah, and maybe the next week we do people to replace Joe Shane. We'll see. Maybe. We gotta start talking about this stuff. It is time. It is time. So
it is time.
let's get into it though, guys, with the picks here. Now, guys, we go into this week here. And going into the week, I have at this point 12-point lead on Rob. And again, we're at week 13 we're going into. So literally I won on average by 1 point. So that's pretty damn close for the season there. But this year, these goofballs are on fire.
Fire!
Insanity, guys. So let's start it off here with, of course, the recap. We already gave you guys the Thursday games and the Friday games on our Friday episode. We had a special episode we had because the change of schedule because of the Thursday game there last week. We're going to start off with the Cardinals at the Vikings there in what was actually a better game than I think a lot of people expected there, except for Rob because he got a decent score on that game there. But what we got is we got the Vikings end up beating the Cardinals basically last minute. I mean, that was I didn't put that score up here. I thought I put it on my notes here. That was a really close game though. So yeah, 23-22 was the exact score there. So in that game, we got each of us picked the Vikings to win, so we each got a point there. You picked the Cardinals to go ahead and cover the spread, which they did. So you got the extra point there. We both picked the over, which was 45, which is a push on. So neither one of us getting the point for that one there.
Wow.
You got 2 points. I got 1 point for that one there. But again, very close game. Very good game, actually. I was actually over at a local bar here helping buddies of mine to do a Tampa Bay show there. Yeah, I was watching that while we're in between our stuff that we were doing. And guys, it was a really good. There was a lot of really good games this week. A lot of close, like last minute kind of stuff there.
Very surprising. Well, I shouldn't say surprising, but
yeah. So, all right. Next up, Rob.
Yeah, up next, Jacksonville hosted the Texans coming into town. Wow, yeah, it was another fantastic game. Like I said, the Jaguars were hosting. They were also giving up 3.5 points as the home team, so they were the underdog by 3.5 points, and the over/under was 44.5 points. Everyone thought the Texans were going to win. Drew, you and I both did. We also thought it was going to be a blowout in this game, but guess what? This divisional game kept it close because it was 23-20, and you went with the over in this game. I took the under, which just edged me out 1 point on you.
Yeah, which I just realized, by the way, I gave you I said point for the over/under on the Vikings game. So yeah, you wait, hold on. Yeah, you didn't get that. We were both at the over, so I misspoke there. You got I was looking at this one, so you got the over for this one instead, or the under for this one. Sorry.
Recommendo.
What happens? Lack of sleep, guys. I need more coffee. I need coffee. Coffee.
Gotta have more coffee.
But yeah, we got to talk about the big thing this week with this game, obviously, which was the hit on Trevor Lawrence. He slid, got hit into head on. I mean, it's smacked against the grass there, and you know, it's starting the big controversy again about quarterback sliding. I know Rex Ryan was on ESPN this morning talking about it, and I actually like what he said. I agree with what he said 100%, where he said, if you're in the open field and you're going to slide before you get contact, slide. Don't take the hit. But if you're not going to be in the open field and you're going to have a guy near you who's going to hit you, don't slide, because when he goes to run at you, he's going to hit you head first. You know, it's going to be a little head-on-head action there. And that's exactly what happened at this play. I don't think any ill intent was meant whatsoever, by the the Texans there. I don't think there was any ill intent whatsoever. But in the end, if you're sliding at somebody that's already going into form, a spot to go ahead and get right into like where you're gonna slide right into the defender, yeah, you'll put your head at hitting level. That's what's gonna happen. But that's just what it boils down to is, it's a technique that's been taught for, a lot of years in this league. You look at like the, going back to the days of John Elway, obviously that was our childhood years at that point there. John Elway was like the classic guy for that because he was sliding, get 2 or 3 more yards for it. Again, former baseball player, so he's got that baseball slide. People may have forgotten that, maybe too young to remember. He threatened to play baseball and not even play football at all. He was actually drafted by the Yankees, I believe, even. So a little New York.
I don't recall where. Yeah, I don't recall where he was drafted, but that man could slide for days.
He did. He would get yards out of it, and he was really good at it. But he also didn't get the hit. So
they also changed the rule too, because now, like, as soon as you initiate the slide, then it's over. But back then, it's until contact. So, like, you could slide and get yourself an extra 2-3 yards, like you said, and then get touched.
By the way, it was the Yankees. He was originally drafted in 81 by the Royals. 82, he got redrafted again by the Yankees and went there. He actually had played 42 games for their for one of their minor league teams before he went to go play for the Broncos there. Like I said, that was a legit thing. By the way, his batting average, 318. 4 home runs, 25 RBIs in 42 games, by the way. That's not too shabby at all. Think about that. I mean, that's like, what, 5, 6? So that's a sixth of a season, basically. So that would put him at 150 RBIs and 24 home runs.
Yeah, I was about to say, but yeah.
13 stolen bases, too.
Yeah.
But again, keep in mind, they're saying A- is what the level is. I'm on Baseball Reference looking at it there. But yeah, like I said, he was a pretty good prospect for baseball as well. And he just had that slide. And it was a different thing for him. Like I said, the rules were different.
It's an electric slide. Boogie, woogie, woogie, woogie.
You can do it. But yeah,
it's like, into it.
This is something that's got to be talked about, I think, more by the safety committees at that point there for the NFL overall, because you don't want anyone to get injured, let's be honest. But it's also that game now led into a brawl and everything because of this. It's something the NFL is going to have to figure out what they're going to do. And listen, they can't make rules to stop a slide probably, because there are a lot of scenarios you want a quarterback to slide. But they can make guidelines and suggestions and have doctors go out to teams and talk to them and tell them, hey, this is probably when you want to slide. This is probably when you don't want to slide, and give them that kind of advice. Because it's so easy to look at this thing in slow motion and say that was a dirty play by the Texans. Guys, you try going 20 miles an hour at that point.
Some of these guys are closer to 25.
Yeah, it's like you're not going to stop. That thing happens so split second, it's not even funny. Like, I watched it in real time, and you'll see the difference at that point there, because trying to stop and get up, and keep in mind some of these guys, because they hit forward, and that's the one mistake the defender made, because he did kind of go forward like that, is you take your eyes off of the player for a second, and you don't necessarily get to see some of that stuff. But like I said, I don't think any ill intent was made whatsoever.
But I don't think so.
Again, who knows? We'll see what the NFL does this offseason there. Hopefully he's good and gets healthy there, because I have a feeling he's going to be out for at least a little bit with the concussion issue, I'm sure. We'll see overall. And interesting, because
could hurt the play.
Well, you get a chance to see the backup now in there, and you get to kind of see really how much Trevor Lawrence is a difference maker for this team. We've talked about it. We called him the per plus there of the Daniel Jones,
Jacksonville Danny's.
But we'll have to see. I mean, again, concussion, you got to figure he's going to be out for one game. He just missed 2 games with a sprained left shoulder. Hopefully he didn't re-injure that in the process. I haven't heard anything about that. But, and the player also had gone ahead and apologized for it. So, like I said, I think people get a little too, uptight about that kind of stuff nowadays. Like, again, those who never played football, that's the ones who get uptight. Just saying it. Like, there's plenty of people that, and I'm not knocking people that didn't play the game, but there's a difference when you play the game compared to when you sit there and just talk about it as if you know what you're talking about. You never played it. You never played at full speed. You never try to go do that kind of stuff. There is a difference to how these things go. So, all right. Anyway, as I went on my rant there,
Yeah.
I just feel bad. I feel bad for the guy who hit him. He probably feels like crap.
Yeah, 100%.
No, and even if it was a mistake he made, listen, we all make mistakes. It's not like he's a repeat offender. It's not like he's like what's his name that played Bengals a while ago? What's his name? The guy who was all crazy, started hitting people left and right.
Why
am I drawing a blank? Someone in the comments.
Well, that's probably why their defense is terrible right now. But that's what
he's long gone. Oh yeah, Vontae's perfect. There we go.
Perfect.
Yeah, remember he was the guy who like was dirty hits and like I think he got caught like punching somebody. It was bad. It was bad. But anyway, let's get back to this discourse here. Did you give? I'm sorry, I went on such a rant there. Did you give all what we did points wise in that game?
Oh yeah. Well, that was all done. We finished up. You got to go out to the Colts and the Patriots. Come on.
Let's go to the Colts and Patriots because that was a fun damn game, guys.
Yep.
That was a really fun game. So I got to watch a bit of that one as well. It's a nice thing about being in a bar where there's like massive screens everywhere. So Colts win 25-24. There was a last-minute touchdown by Anthony Richardson, Mr. I'm too tired himself at that point, putting it all on the line, having a cup of coffee, and getting right into that end zone. And then the Colts went for 2. They played a ballsy move there, went for 2, ended up winning the game by 1 point. Again, 25-24. So you got a point picking the Colts to win. I picked the Patriots. I did not get my point. But on the spread part, you picked the Colts again, whereas I picked the Patriots. So we evened out there. It was an over pick. You and I both picked the under, so we effed up on that one there. But
the damn 2-point conversion.
I'm gonna tell you this, guys. The rest of the games that so far, Rob and I were both 100% right in every single winning. That's a little sick there. That's a little crazy.
Nuts.
And not just that, we only missed one spread pick the rest of the way. That's crazy.
Wait to toot our own horns before we get there.
I'm tooting it. Listen, I'm known for my tooting. Ask anybody at Taco Bell.
They know Taco Tuesday. Stay away from Drew Wednesdays.
Who needs to wait for Tuesday?
Yeah.
Taco Monday. Actually, I did have tacos for dinner too.
Ooh.
I did.
Well, up next you had the
tacos. Very good.
Up next you had the Seahawks coming to MetLife playing the Jets. The Jets were given a 1.5 in this game at home. The over-under was 42.5 points. Well, guess what? It didn't really matter because the Jets do what the Jets do best and lose another game. This is 3 straight for the Jets, 26-21. But that's okay because Drury told you guys we picked the Seahawks.
Whoop, whoop.
Both of us. What? We also took the Seahawks in the spread. Whoop, whoop.
Yep.
And we both took the under, but it was the over. So
the one thing we got wrong. The one thing.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Exactly. Meatloaf was right. We should give a little shout out, by the way, to former Giant Leonard Williams, who had got to score his first touchdown ever, by the way, in this game on a very, very badly thrown ball by Aaron Rodgers there.
Just say a very odd pick 6.
Yes, very, very odd pick 6, but he got it. He got a touchdown. So that means that he's finally got that little highlight reel at that point. I'm sure he's living it up. Listen, defense love it when they get to give a touchdown. They don't get that.
It's funny because I didn't get to see the game, but I heard that. I saw the replay, and I just went, Leo!
Big cat in the house.
Yeah.
So, all right. Next up, we got the Titans at the Commanders. So, yeah, that was a game that I think you and I both thought pretty much would be a blowout. So Commanders, they blew them out 42-19, guys. So Commanders end up getting obviously the win. So you and I both were right there. Spread pick as well. We got that there. It was the over on the points. And I remember I said in the pregame in our pick show, I said it's 44.5 points. I said, watch the Commanders practically get there by themselves. And that's exactly what they did. So I got the over pick. So I got that one. You got the under. So I do get my trifecta as well. So, but yeah, That was a blowout game, and a very rare blowout game this week. There was a lot of close games.
Yeah, especially because the Titans have been playing their teams pretty close. They're the jobbers of the NFL. Like they've not let up that many points as defense. Kept it a little close. This is a higher scoring game for the Titans as well. And guess what? This is the first time in the past month that Daniels turned to his norm of the rest of the season that he's been playing thus far and lit up the field. So kudos to the rookie quarterback. Not that much kudos because it's a divisional
game for him as far as how we've been playing the last couple weeks. That's for sure. So let's get another big game there. What you got, Rob?
Oh yeah, let's talk about the Chargers going into Atlanta. The Atlanta was giving up 1 point in this game. The Chargers were favored by the 1 point coming in. The over-under was 47.5 points. My God, Drew. Talk about trifecta city. Chargers win 17-13. Drew and I both took the Chargers to win. We took that cover because at 1 point doesn't scare you. Because worst case scenario, you either lose or you get a push. You might as well go all in if you think that's the case. Especially if you think you're going to win straight up. And we both went the under because guess what? The Chargers everyone just talks about Justin Herbert, what he can do. Let's talk about that running game. The Chargers defense has been playing sneaky good all year long. And same with the Falcons. They get really stop some plays, even though they've let up some turduckens, if you will. They've let up some big points. But typically they play well. And like you said, there's Kirk Cousins threw 4 picks in this game.
Yep, 4 picks.
So does that help their close to win?
The Chargers have the 3rd best record in the AFC right now.
Yep.
Even though they're second place in their division because the Chiefs are ahead of them, obviously. But the
Chiefs never won wild card.
Yeah, the Chiefs and the Bills because they haven't had their they've had their bye week, whereas the Texans haven't, and they got the extra game and they lost it. But yeah, that's a little. Actually, no, I'm sorry, 4th. I forgot about the Steelers were 9-3, so 4th best. But that's still, considering they've been a disappointing team, they've been team perennially the last couple of years. People thought was going to do good and wouldn't quite do as good as people expected. So kudos to them and kudos to Harbaugh the job he's doing there.
Oh, I think you gave me shit for saying that he would be doing a good job over there.
Listen, I don't like the man personally, but I try not to do that. You know what it is? I don't have respect for cheaters. And I'm sorry, but you cheated in college and you bailed out the second you get caught. I can't respect that.
I did not see him eat any pumpkins.
I'm just saying, he did. He had a pumpkin. It was a pumpkin spice latte.
Did he cheat when he was with the Niners?
No. I'm not knocking him as a bad coach. He's obviously not a bad coach. But I will say this: he tends to get going the second times get tough.
You're not wrong. Real tough, yeah.
Yeah, but between him getting caught cheating and running away, and all of a sudden the Niners not doing as good, and him running away, it's kind of a pattern he's forming here. Stanford, same thing. Andrew Luck leaves, and they're not as good, and he runs away. Saying, it's a pattern.
Protect that record.
Exactly. Kind of like the Wish version of Bill Parcells. Remember, Parcells do that too. He'd do a team for a while to get out just in time for them not to hit the downfall. You know what I mean?
Right.
He was smart. Think about the Giants after he went. Whoop, like he knew Sims is getting older, LT's getting older. Let's get the hell out of Dodge. Then he goes to the Patriots at that point, gets them going, gets out of Dodge right as they started, going down a little bit there. Goes to the Jets, gets them a couple of AFC Championship games, or I think it was one actually. No, Rex Ryan was he had one, I think, but still got out of Dodge before things went out of hand at that point. Same with the Cowboys. Same way, just what he does.
Yeah.
But Harbaugh is like that to the 10th degree at that point there. At least Parcells wins before he leaves. He got 2 rings. Okay, take the rings. All right. So next up, you got the Steelers at the Bengals. And who would have thought, of course, this is going to be the offensive matchup of the week with the Steelers.
Yeah.
But it was. The Steelers win 44-38. And what did we say on the show beforehand? We said, whenever the Steelers play, you go with the under. That didn't work out very well this week. But what didn't work out very well is we said the Steelers would win, and the Steelers would cover the 3-point spread. We're both right on that, so we each get 2 points there, even though we definitely were way, 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 way off on the over-under.
Yeah, 100%. But I mean, both teams have the Bengals have a very high probability of putting a lot of points in the team, on any team.
Yeah.
Steelers also have a very high probability of stopping a lot of teams and playing very slow, methodical football. So, like, it's not wrong to say it. And I wonder what the over-under pick is when it comes to the Steelers.
What, the
like
record?
This year. Yeah.
I can look it up while we're talking about the next game if you want.
Yeah, let's do that. So let's talk about the Rams going into New Orleans. So the Rams come into New Orleans. They're also favored by 2.5 points when they're visiting, and the over-under is 49.5 points. Do you have the stats, Drew?
6.5. That was 6.5. 6-5 is what the record is against the winning. Now, keep in mind that's them going over
6-4.
So they go over 6 times, they're going under 5 times. So 6-5.
Gotcha.
That's what it says according to StatMuse. But now that I'm thinking about it, hold on.
So 5-5
because of 4 games.
Yeah.
So 6-5. Oh, they said 6-5, but again, they've had more games than that at that point. So they've had
pushes.
What? So I think what it is, they probably didn't include yesterday's game yet. They probably didn't update their stats. So yesterday was obviously over, which put them at 7-5.
Yeah. But all right, so the Rams come into New Orleans. It's Rams win 21-14. Drew and I both picked the Rams to win. We picked them against the spread. We also took the over in this game, giving us the trifecta.
Oh, you know what? I didn't give myself the trifecta because I was off. I put over in this game, and I was off. You had the under. You got the point.
Touche.
Wow. Why did you get me all psyched up? I thought I forgot to give myself a point here, and you
just took it right away from you.
Seriously, I was like, ooh.
Get you all
very important. It was a very close matchup. So, all righty. So next up, we had the Buccaneers at the Panthers. And this was the game that I helped my buddies cover there. A very, very exciting game. A game that you did not think would be so close. You had two missed kicks by the Panthers. You had Adam Thielen with literally not getting a touchdown by like a hair. I mean, if you watch that over that thing, it was one of those things. And my buddy on a show, Ray Kennedy, said if it had been called a touchdown, you wouldn't have been able to uncall it because it was that close. But because it wasn't, you couldn't overturn. And he's not wrong there. I thought it was a touchdown personally. So I mean, the Buccaneers had a chance to be absolutely embarrassed by this Panthers team, but because those things there, they got into overtime and actually got the victory there, 26-23. So you and I both picked the Bucs to win, which was obviously going to be the pick for most people. We did pick the Bucs to cover the 5.5 point spread. That did not happen, obviously. We both picked the over. That did happen, thanks in part to that overtime.
Yeah.
We got 2 out of 3 there.
Ain't that bad. Up next, another exciting game. You had the Eagles going into Baltimore. Baltimore was favored by 2.5 points in this game, and the over-under was 50 points. Woo. This was an exciting game of the birds.
Woo.
Living in Jersey, there's 2 birds.
Battle of the
birds. Here as well. Battle of the birds.
About the bird.
Birds. Guess what? One of the birds won. It was the Eagles, 24-19. Drew and I.
Bigger than Ravens.
What?
Eagles
this is true.
Bigger than Ravens. Of course, they're going to win.
Of course, one's a Raptor. One's a Raptor.
I don't know if that's scientifically proven, Rob. Let's not give false information here, okay?
Actually, yeah. Birds of prey is considered raptor. Eagle is the biggest raptor out there. That's modern living. Look it up.
We'll see.
That's why you got raptors and Jets.
Talk about the game. I'm going to say that. Did Eagles did Raptors become Eagles?
No. They became turkeys. But
no. You said Eagles.
No, they're considered raptors. Look it up. Are Eagles raptors? Anyway, the Eagles won because they're raptors. The Eagles cover the spread. And Drew and I both went with the under, giving us a trifecta, a glorious trifecta.
Oh, yes, trifecta. So Eagles, Hawks, Falcons, Owls, and Vultures all share common ancestry from the raptorial land birds. So yeah. So apparently they're all descendant of raptors, which is kind of crazy. That's a lot of animals to be getting out of weird different variations becoming out of raptors. And prior to Jurassic Park, I never remember hearing about it as a kid.
Well, you consider the birds of prey animal, which is what all three of those are. They're considered raptors.
Birds of Prey was a very bad show on CW, is what it was.
And also a terrible movie. Sorry, movie. But birds of prey are also known as raptors, are carnivorous birds that hunt other and eat other vegetarians.
This is not a dinosaur podcast. Let's get back talking about running backs.
Raptors are named for birds. This is equated to dinosaurs because their answers are dinosaurs.
Anyway.
Let's talk about another exciting game. I mean, trifecta.
Yeah. Well, this is one we kind of knew was going to happen. I don't know why it was the way it was at that point there. But yeah, we have the 49ers at the Bills, guys. And this was the snowball fight there. It was like a snow globe with football. It was spectacular. The Bills were favored by 6 points, and they absolutely crushed the 49ers there. Final score was 35-10. So it was almost like the Niners played like they were the Giants. So the Bills win, Bills cover. It's also the over on the points. So you and I both got trifectas. So that ends us of the week right now, where going into this last game, you and I crushed our overall picks there. I got 14 of the 15 so far. You got 15 of the 15. Absolutely sick. Spread picks. I got 10 out of the 15 so far. You got 9. Again, over 500. I'll take it. What we sucked at was the over-unders, where I got 6, you got 7 of the 15. And we got 4 trifectas each, getting the straight-up picks, spreads, and the over-unders all correct in the same game there, which is crazy when you think about it. I only had 4 over-unders correctly, and 6 of them, and 4 of them were on trifectas.
You've been pretty solid. You've been pretty solid once you pick your over/under and pick the game right. You pretty much.
But I'm confident. I'm confident. God damn it!
Yeah.
So now going into this game here, the Broncos now are, as we're recording this, they're in the third quarter with 13.5 minutes left. Broncos are up 21-17 at that point. That's a 4-point lead, which would go ahead and give us both the win. But you would get the spread on the Browns, whereas I would get the Broncos before the minute ago when they're up by more. And you and I both picked the under. So we'll see what happens. But right now you're up by a point. The only thing that changes the spread pick we have on that Broncos-Browns game, which is definitely still up in the air. So either we're going to tie or you're going to be up by 2. We're going to find out when we do our next pick show there. So,
dear football gods, please have mercy. I'm about to get the toilet bowl seat in my fantasy league.
Yeah, like I said, it's just
and first place in the other.
Yeah, you'll win this one at least there potentially. So there you go. But let's get into the last comments we got here. Before we start heading out here for the day. So you got Deb saying, take the 11 touchdowns Barkley has had. How would that affect the Eagles? As again, Deb has been drinking a little tonight.
Well, it's also unfair to say. It's also unfair to say that he got straight 11 wins because guess what? They've also had other running backs there that have 11 wins, 11 touchdowns. They have also had other running backs that have done well getting in there. Like they've utilized Barkley well.
Yeah, and again, Barkley is better than Swift last year, obviously. He's an improvement, but I mean, you can still sit there and say that.
Brandon Scott playing us has half that in 2 games.
Boston Scott. Wrong Scott. Boston. That was his brother, Brandon.
Dude, are you not entertained? Really, Scott?
All right. Debel says, I think Barkley has been the difference there. And I don't know because, again, their record is very similar to what it's been. Last year, they imploded, but they were, 10-1 to start the season or something like that?
They were, but the big difference, too, is that they got a new defensive coordinator this year, and their defense has actually played a lot better football.
Yeah, Fangio. Former Broncos DC, former Dolphins DC last year.
Obviously, you can't take away from Barkley. He's been a playmaker over there. Like he's been balling out. But that defense also has been making a big difference for him, bailing him out of some tight spots.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not trying to take away from Barkley. I'm just saying, like, the team was doing good before he got there. It's not like he went there and took a bad team and made him a good team.
Correct. So he went to the Raiders and took the Raiders to the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. So, let's see there. Demon Time says, y'all deserve more views. I don't disagree.
Yeah.
That is
tell your friends. Tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your family.
No, honestly, the funny thing is, because of the way the Giants are going, I'll tell you guys point blank, like, we literally have less views on the live because people, quite frankly, don't want to be just pouting about the Giants all night long. But we actually had our second biggest month in YouTube last month in November that we've ever had. So we're on the cusp of hitting that 1,000 subscriber. So appreciate everybody that subscribed recently there. Appreciate anybody that's about to, because they feel bad we said that now. But you know, we've got almost 1,000 subscribers in the last. I was at almost 100 subscribers in the last month alone. So I can see what other content creators are doing, and guys, we're not complaining about our views. That's for sure. Appreciate you all that are watching, listening, helping us out there. So Deb says, seems like there's an inordinate number of missed extra points and field goals this year. Yeah, especially extra points. Yeah, that's something that, you know, field goals, you always get some misses. And I feel like we've gotten accustomed to kickers are better than they used to be. I remember it used to be like growing up, it's like, oh, it's a 40-point field goal. That's not a gimme at all. Like now it's like a 50-pointer is a gimme, almost like a 50-yarder is almost like a gimme at this point. It's like, it just feels like that. Like it's almost like you expect the kicker to get it until it gets to like 55 yards now. It's crazy, you know? So, but yeah, extra points obviously have been a bigger issue, I think, you know, this year. And it's definitely something that can change the outcome of a game. 1 point matters. How many games are decided by 1 point? We had a few this week. So, Demon Time says, I think we should trade Tibbs. Let's recoup. I'm not there yet. And I probably won't be, to be honest with you, because he's going to play one more year, and then he's going to play another year, and then we'll make our decision if we keep him long term. But if he's bad enough that we want to trade him, let's be honest, nobody's going to want to trade for him and give you anything substantial.
Yeah.
That's the problem with football. People don't really trade like that. I don't know why they don't. Like we need to get a GM that actually does like to trade, because picks are useless compared to a guy who's proven. I mean, the cap space difference is why everybody likes them. Don't get me wrong, and I get that part of it there. But why am I going to give like, why would I go ahead and say, here's a player that's underperformed, and why would I give you a good pick for him? But the reverse, why would I give you a pick that's, you know, catch-22 and who knows what's going to happen when I can get a proven player that I need at that position? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a little weird way football is. I've always thought that, like, and don't get me wrong, you can't have all veterans and high-priced people. That's obviously the case. But look at the trade we made this year of Brian Burns. Do you really think the second-round pick would have done as good as Brian Burns has done this year? Now, did we overpay him? That's a whole separate issue. We definitely overpaid him. But, you know, do you think that you can honestly sit there and say that a guy like, you know, like would come in and do what he's done? You know, I mean, he's had a decent year. He's got just 6 sacks, but you see him all over the field. You see him helping the run game out. You know, he's still a good player. So, you know, like I said, I don't know. It's weird the way the NFL is. We got Miz in the house, by the way. He said, yo, what's up? It's Miz.
What's up, Miz?
What's up, man? And guys, another content creator, by the way, as well. So if you haven't already, Miz is part of the Big Blue Crew. You know, pop on to them and just, I think on their site, if you go to the Big Blue Crew, they'll probably have, you know, a list of all the people that are part of that network there. They're definitely friends of ours, that network there. So, Solving the Race Problem says, fire everybody. Well, we can't fire everybody. We need to have a show.
Yeah.
We fire ourselves. We can have a show here. But yeah, no, honestly, clean house. We've said it already. Bring in somebody to have full authority, like a Bill Belichick, and let them go ahead and clean house. Who they got to clean house? Whether it's guys that are loyal to Mara and have been around for too long, even though they haven't produced, or it's scouts, you know, front office people, get a new GM, new head coach, get clean house, guys. It's time. Something's got to give.
Let's go.
Something's got to give. So sometimes you don't got to change one or two people. You just got to clean house. And that's where I'm at. It's time to clean house. So, all righty, guys. Again, we'll be back Wednesday next year for you guys. 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, we're going to be live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and, of course, Rob's favorite. Profile. Oh, yeah, my LinkedIn profile. And, of course, as always, we're going to be available the next day on all the audio podcast platforms. Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, all the big ones there, Amazon and all, So do me a favor, hit a like, hit the subscribe, and all the ones that you like at that point there. Even the ones you don't like, it helps us out. So go for it. We'll be back on Wednesday there for you guys. Again, we'll be talking our pregame show for the upcoming game this week here. But we're also going to go ahead and do a special segment there going over candidates to replace Brian Daboll because we're all sick. We're all sick of it. I know some fans want to keep him, but we got to look at options because you're going to have potential need for an option there. So, like I said, we're back again Wednesday. Appreciate you guys for watching, listening as always. And as always, Giant fans.
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you.